First part of the video here, we're going to talk about lining up the shaft itself with the vibrator drive motor, whether you have the hydrostatic drive, hydraulically driven motor, or the electric VFD style motor. It's very important that the end of that shaft and this shaft are directly in alignment with one another. Your vibrator itself is going to be positioned in such a way that it's not movable unless you're putting new stuff in. Now, based off of that, again, you're going to have this tower that goes over the vibrator shaft as you're seeing it here. We have an index spot on the front side of that is indexed off of the mounting plate for either the electric motor or the hydraulic motor. Both motors need to be completely out of the way, and we have a alignment tool that would slide over this shaft. You want to make sure the shaft is clean, and then that alignment tool is going to slide over this. Then it has a large bell on the end of it that will index into the plate that the motor mounts to. What we're making sure is that this plate is indexed to this correctly so that when you mount the motor, again, whether it's the hydrostatic drive or the VFD, that it is directly in alignment here. If those two shafts are not in alignment, what will happen is the coupling will be put into a bind ever so slightly this direction. Could be up and down as well, but typically it's side to side, and so in essence you're taking the coupling and trying to bend it around a corner. They're designed to take up a little bit of that, but not very much. And if you get too much misalignment this way or straight up and down, as opposed to being bent, which everything is machined, bent-wise it'll tolerate better than it will alignment this direction or up and down. At that point, it starts to take that coupling shell and starts applying forces to it that will actually take the snap ring and snap ring and seals and cause this coupling to fall apart. So based on that, if you're experiencing that problem, I would definitely pull the coupling off with your index plate on, whether it's the VFD or hydrostatic drive, and use your alignment tool and verify that those two things match up to this shaft. If that alignment tool and that plate do not align up to this, then you either need to loosen up the vibrators and redo everything from here on out, or the easier step in some cases is to realign this plate to the shaft, and then you know the motor is going to line up properly. Then at that point we'll move forward with the alignment of the coupling and installation of it onto the shaft itself, and then you can get back up and running. When you receive your coupling, it's going to be in a bag like this with some Loctite, possibly your seals and snap rings. We're going to take those out. We'll leave the Loctite in here for now. You've got two seals. You have two spiral snap rings. These are the spiral type, like this. They are not the type where they just have the little holes to close them down. If you get those type, they are incorrect. This is the one you need, where it's the spiral style. So we have two of those. Then, on your coupling, when you receive that, you're going to have a drive hub that is spline, a key, and a hub that has been bored to size, and then the outside shell. The way these seals go in is you've got a lip that faces outward or inward. In our application, we are actually going to install these with this. The lip's going to be facing outward, so the metal ring is going to face out towards you. The first one, we're just going to press it into position as best we can with our fingers. There is a groove that the snap ring goes into. If you take a small bladed screwdriver, you just take and install it into the groove and give it a twist, and that will force the seal into position. As far as installing these spiral snap rings, they're very easy. You start it by pushing it into the groove and just kind of work it around in a circle like this. And then once you feel that you've got it pretty well positioned into the groove, we'll now go ahead and install one half of the coupling, push it through, and then we can take and slide this half in on this side. Again, Metal side facing out towards you, the rubber side's going to face inward. What this does is when you fill it up with grease, it's going to allow the grease to evacuate out but keep dirt from going in. Again, using your small bladed screwdriver, just work that around, forcing the seal into position, allowing you to position the snap ring in place. Just like that. Now, to verify that we do have this snap ring positioned tightly into the groove, we're going to go around and you can just twist the snap or the screwdriver, forcing that snap ring out. There isn't a direction for that snap ring to go in, whether you're rotating counterclockwise or clockwise. If this tang is facing one direction or another, it's not going to matter. At that point, your coupling is completely assembled. We're going to flip it over. And you may see that this now, you can see I'm forcing that snap ring into position. So it wasn't quite seated all the way down on the first installation, so that's why you're going to do that. Now it's ready to be installed onto the vibrator shaft. Sometimes when you receive your couplings, they may come pre-assembled like this. On this particular one, you do not need to take it apart to install it. On the ones that are on the shaft, from the vibrator to the gearbox, those ones you will need to take this snap ring and seal out on one side and then take and install the hubs onto the vibrator flush with each end of both of those shafts. Hello and welcome to the coupling installation on your CPM drive side coupling for your vibrators to electric drive motor or hydrostatic drive. This is the kit that you're going to receive, 675.300.97. It's going to come with two different containers full of Loctite. There is a green Loctite that's a retaining compound of a 609. We're going to use that to adhere the coupling to the shaft itself. Then we have a 242 that's going to be used on all the set screws to maintain those. When opening your box for the coupling, it's going to come like this with the wrapper. There's going to be a piece of key stock. You always want to replace that. And your coupling is going to be just like this. The 675.300.97 is a 2-inch board coupling hub on this side with the splined side here used for coupling up to your motor, whether it's the electric or hydrostatic drive. These are fully packaged with the snap rings included, seals on both sides, and a Zerk fitting with a plug on the opposite side. We also install the set screws. On this particular one here, on the non-keyed portion, there are actually two set screws. We're going to take this first one out and place it aside for now. We're going to take the second one that's closest to the shaft and back it out. We're going to take and remove the one for the key. For the purpose of the video, we're going to take and apply the Loctite so you can see how much Loctite you want to put on the shaft prior to putting this on. But the first thing you want to do is to actually dry fit the coupling. Leave it as one solid piece like this, and you're going to take and slide it right on just like that. It shouldn't be wiggly on the hub portion. You know, if you grab this portion is going to wiggle around because it's designed to do that. The hub itself should fit fairly snug to the shaft. If it fits tight and you have to try to nudge it on with a hammer, do not do that. Make sure that you hone the inside of the coupling so that it is honed out enough with a flapper wheel so that it will just dry fit just as we're showing you here. Now, when you go to actually install it, you want to push these all together so that it's a tight package, and you're going to push it directly on until it stops. That's as far on as it needs to go, and we'll go from there. Now, for the purpose of this video, obviously this vibrator is not installed in a machine. You're going to have a base tower that supports your columns and your stripper cylinders that are going to be over the top of this, so you're going to be working inside of the machine a little bit. So, prior to putting the keyway in, we're going to put a good strip of Loctite down inside of the key. Then we're going to take the key and we're going to drop it into position. Then we're going to take and we're going to put a very good amount or a liberal amount of Loctite around the shaft. And it's okay to take this and smear it around with your finger if you'd like to, and put a little bit on the keyway there. And so that's how much of the 609 Loctite, which is the green colored stuff, you want to put on there. A good amount. Now again, for the purpose of the video, we're going to remove the key. I'm going to wipe this all off, otherwise we'll have problems getting it apart. So we're going to take that, and again we're going to wipe all this stuff off here. And this is just for the purpose of the video. Now at this point, because we've already dry fit the coupling and we've packed it together tightly, we're going to get it started onto the shaft, and we're going to push it on until it bottoms out. If you have to nudge it with your hands like that, that is completely acceptable. Now, with a 242, which is the thread locker, what we're going to do with this is we're going to take this and we're going to pour a very large amount down inside of each one of these set screw holes. And again, for the video, we're not going to do this because we don't want to lock this on here. We would take and pour in a lot. A lot would be a good puddle like about that big. And then once you see it coming out, then you would install your first set screw. And this is on the non-keyed portion, so we're going to lock that one down very tightly. Then we're going to put a little bit more Loctite in on top of that, again of the blue 242. Then we're going to take the second set screw and we're going to lock that down on top of that. Now we're going to rotate the shaft around 90 degrees, and we have our second, or actually third set screw, but second position. This one is going to go down onto the key in the keyway. Again, we're going to lock that down solid. At that point, your coupling for the drive shaft side is completely assembled and ready to install the motor, whether it's your hydrostatic drive, hydraulic driven motor, or the electric motor for a VFD.